That's an interesting question. There are various theories and historical writings that talk about that. The most popular bit of evidence comes from the Sumerian tablets. It talks about this group called the Anunnaki who arrived on this planet, who are supposed to also be the progenitors of and the creators of the elite class, the Aryan class, and also the Illuminati, who are very, very much a real problem on this planet, and the controlling group. And the Anunnaki arrived from this planet, and they've been traveling and settling many planets by the sounds of it. And actually they seem to be quite a rogue group of advanced beings that are causing trouble wherever they go. Now, we understand that. We've got those genes in ourselves. So the Anunnaki is the most commonly referred to settlers of planet Earth many millions of years ago, coming back on several occasions and eventually cloning this new species, which they used their own DNA and blended with DNA of other creatures that they found on Earth, most likely Homo erectus. And they cloned quite a few groups. It's most likely that they're also responsible for cloning Homo neanderthalis, because that's never been explained. We can't quite understand where Neanderthals came from and then died out. Remember, Neanderthals are quite big, bigger than humans, Homo sapiens. They had bigger brains, but they died out. They somehow couldn't adapt. Or they were wiped out. Who knows? We will never know that. Well, maybe one day we will know that. But it seems from the Sumerian tablets and extension of research that the Anunnaki settled this planet many years ago, many millions and thousands of years ago, and started doing this cloning process. And they came in search of metals, pretty much like when we explore planets. We're interested in what there is in the ground, in the soil. We examine the soil and the rocks and come back saying, okay, well, there are these metals and those metals and these minerals, and we need this on Earth and that. So that's pretty much the stuff that goes on in the universe. Species and beings travel, find new planets. There's an infinite amount of planets to be found. And as they settle those planets, they decide that they need X, Y, and Z and start going through the process of acquiring X, Y, and Z. And in that process, these Anunnaki on this planet decided that, hold on, we want gold. They came here looking for gold. They needed it for various reasons for their own planet. And they were too lazy to do it themselves. So they cloned a being to help them. And the Sumerian tablets are quite explicit with those translations. They talk in great detail about how this new being became cloned and how they tried and failed and tried and failed and eventually ended up with what they refer to as Adamu. And guess where the Bible gets the name Adam from? The other very important thing is to remember that all of the information in the first few books of the Bible, all of it, comes from a prior source, and that prior source are the Sumerian tablets. Everything from the creation of earth and the heavens to the Garden of Eden, the creation of Adam, to the great flood, to the Tower of Babel, to the snake, to Abraham, to you name it, to the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. All of those stories actually come from the Sumerian tablets in much greater detail than the Bible. And about 3,000 years later, the creators and the compilers of the Bible used that information in a diluted form, and they put it into what we now call the Bible, the biggest selling book in the world, and the biggest dogma that has enslaved people for so long and kept them in the dark, away from the truth.